you can hear me. My name's Elliot Ford-Jones. I would like to welcome everybody today to the Platinum Global Solutions Global IT Security Summit 2024. We are going to have a mix of different speakers from many different industries today who are going to be talking us through about the different aspects of the IT security that is pertinent to the industries in which that we work in today. I have the honor of introducing the speakers as your host. And the first speaker is Laurent, as you can see here. Hi, Laurent. Mr. Sygenta is the head of corporate security and head of legal operations at Sygenta Group. The presentation topic, I understand, Laurent, that you're going to be talking about today and informing us about the group, and questions will, of course, be raised and come after the conversation. And I believe each of us has a 45-minute slot, so please use the chat and also wait until the end. And Laurent, if you would be happy to answer those questions at the end. And I understand that the subject of your talk will be the importance of leverage of artificial intelligence to detect and deal with online counterfeit sales. So Laurent, over to you.
Thanks a lot, Elliot, and it's a pleasure being with all of you virtually today, here from rainy Geneva in Switzerland, where, well, I guess for many of you, at least in Western Europe, we have a sunny spring, but I'm sure there's people coming from a lot of different places. So yes, that's the weather update to start with. And
being British, we love talking about the weather, Laurel. Yes.
Yeah,
but this artificial intelligence is what we need to help us, shall we say, investigate and work out how we can do things more efficiently. So you're going to be talking about artificial intelligence to detect and deal with online counterfeit sales. Very interesting topic. Tell us more.
Yeah, this is I think before putting my slide on the screen, I think it's just giving you a little bit of background with so the counterfeit is well known in a number of industries, you know, luxury, pharma, and few others, the tobacco, food and beverage. Not so obvious to think that Sygenta Group, which is the third largest agrochemical company on the planet, that is basically providing farmers with what they need to protect their crops and also produce their crops with seeds. So a lot of products around that can be in the space of, you know, chemicals, biologicals, but also typical seeds in all range of product from wine to your tomatoes and field crops, all of this. Well, and then not sure if there is a Gucci representative on the line today, but like Gucci bags, more and more tomato seeds, flowers as well as complex chemicals are simply copied. And we came to realize this some years ago. Of course, we're not discovering this today, but then we went into the evolution of having traditional way to deal with counterfeit. As the head of security and head of legal operations, I'm a little bit of my background is I'm a bit of a Swiss knife, if I could use this one. So that's I have multiple skills. I'm originally coming from security with a Master of Science from Loughborough University in security management. But then I guess I'm a hyperactive. My wife probably confirmed this, and I like to learn and I like to continue to develop my own skills. And in the area of process improvement, change management, I've started to run projects for the legal organization to help the legal team, which is my second role, if you like. My morning job at Sygenta is leading corporate security team. We are focusing on 3 main programs. Of course, protection of Sygenta people against crime and crisis of all sort. We as an ag company, we operate in many difficult places, Ukraine, Latin America, Africa. So a lot to do in that space. We protect, of course, Syngenta assets, traditional security advisory for site managers, and counterfeit. So in the counterfeit space, that's where we really started 10 years ago to look at how to address this, how to detect cases, and how to deal with them. And then post-COVID, let's say, what we realized is that we were looking at online as a source of detection, let's say before COVID, as a small, a not so big for us, for organized crime dealing with counterfeit in the space of chemicals and seeds. Online was not used that much. But then, of course, COVID made a shift. The farmers, the distributors, the whole economy, agriculture and others had to adapt to that situation. And you cannot say, well, I pause my farming activity because of COVID. They didn't stop, right? So what happened was that, of course, there was the need to stay for us as an organization, many other of our friends in the industry, how to continue to interact with the farmers. And of course, online was the obvious solution. So the criminals realized that. And the criminals realized that actually it would be easier than now. There would be much more farmers going online to get information about the latest products, receive advice from blogs or farming community sort of platforms on any of the social media you can think of. And then from there, start to place offers of fake products. And so that's how the whole story started for us, really, in terms of, if I would say, the intensity, we really pick up the speed with the post-COVID. And so with this introduction, and of course you can use your the chat to ask questions. I'll try to look at them. I count on you, Elliot, to help me as I might be in my flow, to say, hey, so don't wait. We have 45 minutes. Wait to the end, interrupt me, pick the way you want. Let's be interactive and have it as a dialogue. Just a quick check. You see my presentation on full screen or presenter mode?
Yes, it's on presenter mode. It's good, full screen there. Yeah. So it's fine. Harvesting
Presenter
justice.
mode means I can try to figure out how to do like this. How would that be?
At the moment, it's still the main screen. Yeah.
Main screen. So you don't see
Yeah,
presenter.
harvesting justice, AI-driven strategies for uprooting illicit trade in agriculture.
Let's go. So I'm sure I'm not going to be the only one. If the other presentations that may be touching about counterfeit, you might all be aware about the size of the problem when you think about the global trade. Okay, so all industries put together, you're talking about the size of the problem is more than 3% of the global GDP for the whole planet. So 3% is, I can't remember in billions of dollars, but that's monumental. And that is affecting, of course, all sorts of industries and in all sorts of scenarios. And so what we see is that organized crime is really looking at let me say, diversifying their business. Okay, so from their traditional criminal space, if you like, they go through different places, and agriculture is one of them. And so with this shift of tactics from the criminals and using much more online and different type of tools, of course, we had to adapt and try to catch up on their new tactics. And I think when we look at artificial intelligence, we realize that we started small. We started by doing just let's say sophisticated web scraping. So basically, research tool that we try to find for us offers. The problem was like, whatever is the name of your product, I'm about to take a glass of my sparkling water, San Pellegrino. If you go for San Pellegrino online and say, you put as in your Google search or into an e-commerce platform the word of the name of a product, inevitably you have a monumental list of false positive. How do you go through this and be more efficient into your research so that out of the thousands of false positive, you find those that are relevant, which means if not directly finding the fake ones, that at least you have a way to guide your investigations into those that are the one that you should focus on. Obviously, I'm stating the obvious, I know. But then, how many tools can you use from the AI source to help you? I think I looked at the stat the other day, like from at the end of March, only in the US, there were 14,000 companies active in producing AI tools. I'm not even talking about how many AI tools are available. I'm just giving you a sense for how big and how dynamic, and I'm sure that will be covered in other presentation today. How much AI is going to influence the way we run business, the way the economy is going to be shaped differently in few months or years from now, thanks or because of AI. It's enormous. The disruption is there. On our side, we look at, okay, what are the tools that we could use? And of course, you have now evolution with, equivalent of Gen AI and ChatGPT-4. You have, what are the tools that we can use? And I will answer that question with my presentation to give you some ideas. And because there's actually what we think is really the power of AI is in combining different tools to help you make sense out of a lot of unstructured data or a lot of lines, if you like, of hits that are some are the one you should pursue, but you could lose a lot of time and money into chasing the wrong lead, let's say. And that's the game is about how can you increase your accuracy and precision in research so that you investigate the right cases. And AI is making that work for you. So just to give you a little bit of context, so I said earlier, 3% of the global GDP is affected by counterfeit. In our space, if you put together how much how much business is sort of measured activity, illicit activities is measured. If you combine organized crime all together, they would be the fourth largest agrochemical company, and that's how big is the problem, and that's for chemicals. And what we see is that there is also a lot going on into the seed space. Farmers thinking they are buying the right seeds they want, and then being abused and or being fooled by an offer that look like really genuine and is not, and they end up paying, of course, the price for the wrong product, etc. The same dynamics that we see in many other places. I could look like bragging with my numbers on the bottom of that slide that you have all looked at now as I'm progressing in this. But actually, if I think about the reality of the first number on the top left, 14% of the global business of plant protection is affected. The numbers which is what we captured as Syngenta security team, is actually not 14% of the global volume of Sygenta. It's much less. It's probably in the 1%. So this is to say that despite the fact that those numbers seems impressive and big, we are actually capturing just a fraction, and we really need to optimize the way we operate, because the reality is that of course there is a very strong support and a very strong positive feedback from our company, from sales, marketing, from many players about what we do. It doesn't mean that they are going to give us, how do you call that in English, a blank check and say, recruit as many people as you want, triple, quadruple your budget, go gaga. It's not the reality. The reality is we still have to operate under a number of limitations. And so how could we do more with the same resources? And how could we move up to more cases in 2024 and more seizures on the ground? That's a strong enabler of this is optimizing the detection at the beginning of the journey of a case. So being much more powerful with the tools we use to be able to make a bigger difference at the end of the day. So that's the challenge that we have. And to do this, well, Syngenta operates in 120 countries, 60,000 employees. The security team focusing on anti-illicit trade we are 40. So if you compare those numbers, you could still say, hey, Laurent, you're lucky to have 40 people in your team dealing with anti-illicit trade. But actually, at the size of the planet, it's very quickly you end up distributing those resources on the map, and it's not a lot. And so we need a mechanism to be able to focus. And the mechanism for us is most probably very traditional, whatever is it in IT security, is it in many of the subjects that will be covered today, in one form or the other. People are doing this as well in other areas, and which is a risk-based intelligence led. Risk-based is the combination, as you can read on the screen, of where there is an environment that is more favorable, let's say, for criminal activities of that nature. And some of the components can be corruption and a number of indices that we can see, as well as, which is a huge challenge for us, limited regulation. If you ask the World Customs Organization, they have now a lot of ways to explain how to deal with tobacco, pharma, drugs, etc. If you ask them, what about corn seeds? They don't have the regulation at the World Customs Organization, and even less in countries or EU. We are just at the beginning of this. It's coming, but and organized crime, they know that. They know that if they want to bet on getting 5 trucks through a border full of weapons, chance for them to be challenged, captured, etc., is high. Where if it's drums of crop protection products or pallets of seeds bags, the attention of the custom officer and the training that is delivered, even if we do our best to train a lot of custom officers, is still an area that is a challenge. So we really need to we cannot be everywhere and operate on all the countries at the same time. It doesn't work. So you can see here that these are the areas where we focus. And of course, we try to develop in the countries where there is less focus, but that's a way to guide us. So underestimating how organized crime groups are evolving, I think, would be a big mistake. Yes, they used to be disorganized. Yes, they used to be opportunistic and looking at, and they still, in some aspect, operate under those descriptions of sometimes not being so smart, being opportunistic and go for the weakest target. But at the same time, we start to see in some of the large international cases or organized groups that we have dismantled, we start to see behind a very organized structure from the production of products. I'm not saying they have a regulated factory. Of course, they produce under zero safe condition, but they have the logic of a big company designed by organized crime. They do sales and marketing. They have different partners that can do for them their videos on YouTube. You wouldn't believe it. It's like sometimes it really looks absolutely genuine. You have a sales representative that is in a field with a farmer and a tractor, and it's exactly, they just mimic what we do, right? And then you believe that it's really genuine. So we should not underestimate this. We should also realize that they use a lot of those tools, and that can be tools they use to do deep fakes. That can be tools they use to copy some of our products and then build do reverse engineering to create a mole so that they could have a bottle of a product that is really, they use those technologies. And we really need to do the same. And I think really investing more time into AI on our side is a must. We need to adapt because otherwise we're going to leave too much space for organized crime. They would use the ChatGPT to make their offer attractive for a farmer in Thailand based on the latest news of the weather, etc. They do all of this, and we really should not underestimate the level of sophistication. Um, on my next slide, I'll start to talk about AI. Okay, there's a few slides about this. So I think I've decided to start by machine learning because it's all about continuous improvement. Machine learning, if I would describe it in my own words, it's the, from an AI standpoint, these are the tools and algorithms that are adjusting and improving by themselves. Of course, they need to be piloted by humans, and they need to improve in the way we want, so that again, artificial intelligence is a great tool as long as we control it. So instead of being controlled by the tool. So machine learning for us is very important because the organized crime and the criminals are adapting their tactics, offers based on the way they see when they are detected online. They change. They try to use, for example, genuine pictures so that our tool would not recognize if it's a fake, if it's not the right picture of the product, because the picture itself is right. And then they use a description that is as best as possible close from the type of narrative we would use to describe a product. So the machine needs to constantly improve to be able to capture the right elements. And here you can see a little bit of the type of tools we combine from on the right hand side. You see the combination of image and video, which is computer vision from an AI language. So we look at images, we look at NLP, natural language processing. Behind that, of course, there is large language models, so that the tool can understand more the subtlety of the language that is used and not just the translation. So that like this, we can identify online illicit trade offers. And then we do predictive analysis to say, okay, based on the price, based on what we know from the seller, do we have a high likelihood to have a case in front of us or not? And then if we have a case, we try also to triage cases by, depending on the volume. For example, if this is an offer with 5 products, we may not want to invest a lot of our resources to then further dig. We may want to have a takedown that is automated or that is triggered. At least the pre-work is done so that we spend less time doing the work around takedown. But if the case is a real one, and I think this is where my presentation is going to move into the hybrid model that we have, which is, we could not continue without a strong AI platform or support. But at the end of the day, we really need to be able to then say, how do we take the case on the ground? And so on the ground, let me stay with Thailand. In Thailand, you can imagine that organized crime is not going to use some of the very famous and most renowned e-commerce platform. Also because those e-commerce platforms are collaborating, they are improving. They know that if they would let fake product being sold on their platforms, not good for their image, you know the story. So what are the platforms in Thailand, for example, a big country, where organized crime would sell? And usually this is on smaller places. So we need to identify those platforms, and we need intelligence on the ground, almost talking to sales representative etc., to identify what are those platforms so that we could start monitoring those platforms. And so the end-to-end thinking is where I want to take us now, to take you now from the online detection, one could call the upstream element of our activities, to how do we transition from upstream detection. Sometimes we stay in the online space, we do take down, we look at domain name, we look at fake apps. We have a lot of those fake Syngenta applications, and we take them out, we take them down. But sometimes we see that the quantity that is offered is high. We see that that seller, we have identified in our data lake, we have all the previous cases from the last 10 years. So we may have a phone number from a case from 2 years ago that is popping up again on another. And that is a signal for us that we may want to investigate on the ground and then start to do, well, now we try to interact through our investigators, find ways to interact without alerting organized crime that we want to buy some of their product, because obviously you can see me coming. For those that are in the practice of counterfeit, this means now starts the collaboration with prosecution services. The judge will ask us to come with facts, and they would be very interested to do operations on the ground. For that, they need evidence that the product is actually fake. They need more than just screenshots, if you like, of online offers, and so from there we would start to do test purchase, and we would start to activate law enforcement, which means that we have an established collaboration with many law enforcement partners, which can be in country A, it's police; in country B, it's custom; in country C, it's environmental protection agency. Whatever, we need to find who is the right partner, the one that has the drive, that has the resources and the energy to then go on the ground. Because at the end, keep in mind that if we only operate online, we may do a takedown, but physically the product is not seized, or of most of the time is not, which means that organized crime has been challenged, their offers has been removed, and they may simply try to sell those products on another platform. So it's a vicious circle. So there's at some point the need for us to then try to hit them harder, because being only the prey and being the victim is at some point we really shift the game from defensive to offensive, and from being the prey to be the predator. And for that, this means we really need to give them the strong signal, and not only the impression, but we need to create impact on their operations, on their assets, physical and financial assets, so that we really start to disturb them. Because if we stay only, I'm not saying it's not enough, but you see, I hope you see my point. It's about combining the traditional hit them hard on the ground, that is investigations, the old traditional investigation work, but now that work can be augmented. The power of those investigations, the accuracy of the investigation can be increased by stronger AI support, and that's the whole story. I'm almost done with my presentation, Elliot. So at the end, what we see is that the farming industry is in the input of the food, right? So the more we can protect farmers, the more we keep them safe, the more we make the place where we live a better place. And I think this is when I discuss with my team members, and when we engage with law enforcement, we see that the true nature of our mission is bigger than just. If you allow me, my boss is the general counsel of Sygenta, a member of the executive committee. Steve would still agree with me strongly that, yeah, I'm here to protect IP, I'm here to protect the interest of the company, but there's a bigger purpose, and the bigger purpose is what I think is driving us a lot, and I'm really I really like that element of our work, and then. We hear a lot about collaboration. I said at the beginning, it's not only many industries are impacted by organized crime group, and sometimes by the same organized crime group. They may have been in the business with I don't know, automobile spare parts for years, but then they have a network, they have ambition to grow, to make more money, and then suddenly they want to use their own supply chain for spare parts to carry or to supply different products, and that's where they could use. So I think the collaboration is a challenge, because I hear a lot about we need to collaborate more, we need to have more public-private partnership. Yes, of course, but how do we do that? And what does it mean practically? Uh, and that's going to be my last slide. We realize, and we are approaching members of our own industry and say, because we know that the work we have that started for us 10 years ago put us in a position to have maybe a little bit more experience, maybe a little bit more solutions that can be actually used for our company, but also for others. And then the crazy idea is to say, can we collaborate? Can we help some of you online that say, well, we know we have a problem. We know that if we try to buy the service fully from the outside, it's expensive, it's complex, etc. Maybe the solutions we have could help some of you, and maybe we could do a pilot for some of you that could help you see, do you have a problem or not, and is AI something that could help you compared to the way you do it today? And that's how, Elliot, I will close my presentation. We'll be more than happy to take questions or answer points.
I love the fact that you finish on collaboration, because one of the big topics that's going to be raised today, and I'm sure discussed by many of the different panelists, is the fact that AI is driven by data. AI is still quite new at the moment. The models are changing consistently, frequently, and without collaboration or the data and learning for the AI systems, it doesn't pick up more predictive models. And of course, without this particular collaboration, you won't be able to identify, as you said, the focus. Why go for the small fish when you need to focus on the big fish? Again, just like traditional law enforcement. Now, Laurent, that was very, very interesting. Obviously, your organization, Sygenta, focuses on the agriculture industry, which is harvesting of foods and something that we need in our lives to survive, of course. It's a network of farmers, it's a network of industry, it's a network of organizations, but generally speaking, hundreds of thousands, if not millions to billions of people. So there's a lot of data that can be derived from many, many different facets. And from yourself, obviously, detecting and dealing with online counterfeit sales is, again, protecting not just the IP of organizations, but maybe even down to the farmers themselves, of course. We started our conversation this morning with the fact that we were talking about weather, and Huawei itself, one of the main uses of our AI technology has been for a weather model to try and make weather more predictive, which of course, if farmers or agricultural organizations would know if there were storms, floods, or particular locusts, whatever, for instance, coming through. Why it happens, of course. I watch many, many programs that are talking about collecting data to try and be more predictive. Within Syngenta, are you using predictive AI as well as machine learning and augmented models?
So the one reason why as well we have been supported by the company to do investments and research into the specific aspect of illicit trade fight. But the reason for that is that there was a ground, which is digital agriculture. That ground means the company is investing a lot. One could say we used to have an IT department at Syngenta. Now it's probably more accurate to call them the digital team, because they are working like hell into providing support to the different business units about what are all the elements that can be leveraged to help farmers to do more predictive analysis about weather, soil conditions, sensoring, so which means through imagery, but also through sometimes systems that you deployed on field. How do you understand much better the stress of the ground or the stress of the plants so that you deliver the appropriate products to those? So that discussion is now for the last 3-4 years full speed in organization. Innovation is really at the core of the way we operate. So in our case, predictive analysis is something we use to when you classify or when you rate, we use a model called confidence index, which is how confident we are that we have in front of us a case. And to your analogy between a small fish, big fish, this is all about do we have in front of us a case that is worth investing or not, and that is done through predictive analysis. Yeah, I think we lost Elliot, if I'm right.
Yes, I cannot
He
see
must
him
be.
in the chat also. No, probably yes.
But at least everyone here heard my answer. Yeah,
Yeah.
we lost him, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's the internet issue. Okay.
I
Okay.
haven't seen if there were any other questions in the chat. There was one
Yeah.
person that said, yeah.
Yeah.
So the benefit, right? What are the key benefits for business in using AI to combat and protect burn integrity? So quickly, the benefits are so there's of course the need for us to be more productive or efficient in the way we run cases. Before having AI tools, we had a lot of analysts. We still have them because actually the problem is increasing. It's not about removing analysts, it's about making their work more targeted. But one of the benefits is that we have more accuracy, so that on thousands of offers, we are able to detect those that are the big fish, the one we are interested in. So that's a huge benefit. Of course, there is an element of productivity because to do more, we don't need more analysts to actually go through more offers. Actually, we've been able to move from, we have not increased our analyst team, but the volume of case we've been able to generate, I think I mentioned in the presentation, if you remember, the third slide was about something like 950 cases for 2023. And if you compare the number of cases we have been able to deal with 5 years before, we were like at 200. But the staff was not multiplied by 4. So you maintain your resources, and with those resources you generate more outcome, which is a very strong benefit. And maybe last point, when it comes to brand integrity, we are able to collect more accurate evidence that can help us in front of law enforcement and regulator to demonstrate how are we trying our best or doing our best to protect farmers, which is something that is that has an additional dimension of benefits. I hope I've answered the question.
Okay. So thanks, Lauren, for the presentation and for answering the question. So if anybody has any question, then they can ask in the chat, or any of our panelists has a question for Lauren. I guess not so far.